News with swearing. Daily beans, daily beans. Daily beans, daily beans.
Hello and welcome to the Daily Beans for Thursday, August 1st, 2019. Today, our predictions for the Dem debate round 2, a bombshell on Epstein Eww-genics, Mitch McConnell is directly tied to the Deripaska aluminum mill deal, and a secret deal between Flynn and Putin in 2015. I'm your host, AG, and with me today are Jaleesa Johnson.
Hello.
And Jordan Coburn.
Hello.
How you guys doing?
Hey, good.
Good as well.
Good? You're wearing your redaction dress?
I am.
I love this dress.
Thank you.
Are you wearing it in like... It's in your Rachel Maddow photos, right?
It is, yes.
Yeah. You guys check that out. It's my favorite dress. I need one, actually.
It's my favorite, too. You know, today is National Colorado Day.
No.
Yeah, so shout out to our Colorado listeners.
Yeah, thanks to Ken Buck for asking Robert Mueller if Trump can be charged when he leaves office.
I like that.
Happy Colorado Day,
Connected
Ken
the
Buck.
redaction dress to the National Colorado Day. That was good.
That
was quick.
I
Yeah.
can make it happen. 6 degrees of Mueller bacon? I don't know if that works.
Not quite.
It's a really funny contradiction as a concept. Happy National State Day.
Yeah,
what?
it seems. Do they have them for every state?
National state. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone in the country has to think about us for today.
Yeah.
Well, not us, but you know. First, I want to let our patrons know that we will be hosting a second VIP meet and greet in San Francisco Thursday night, August 29th. You have to be a ticket holder for the main show August 30th to go, but keep an eye on your Patreon messages in the coming weeks for instructions, times, and locations. Time and location is just one. We're doing this because our VIP meet and greet at the venue the night of the show sold out like after an hour, and demand is pretty high. So you can attend the second meet and greet even if you're going to the first one, so you can get a twofer if you want.
Yeah.
So look for those details as we get them. We'll send them out to your as a message on Patreon. And speaking of that, guys, can you please do us a favor and subscribe to the Daily Beans itself? Because right now we're posting all of our episodes on the Mueller She Wrote feed, but those are going to disappear from that feed soon onto only its own feed, which it has. So if you could go on your podcast player and actually search for Daily Beans and subscribe on that feed, that would be really helpful to us. Plus, you won't miss any episodes when we pull it down off the Mueller She Wrote feed because you won't get the notifications anymore unless you subscribe to the Daily Beans feed. It's all technology.
Yeah, Apple, you know.
Yeah, they're in control of the world. So we have to kind of go by their rules. And so we appreciate it. Shoot us a rating, too. We love that. When you do that, it helps us get noticed by other people. It helps get our show out there. So get the word out. Guys, we have San Francisco, which I was just mentioning, and I'm so excited about this show because I haven't been to San Francisco since I was like 12.
Oh,
It's going to be great. My first time.
It's your first time?
Oh, yeah.
You're going to like it, I think.
I'm really excited. Yeah.
Heck yeah.
It's a really cool city.
And
Nice.
we're
I hear.
staying in Lower Haight, so it's going to be rad.
Nice.
Near the Haight-Ashbury.
Oh, yeah. Jaleesa's going to fuck up
I
Haight-Ashbury.
was gonna say, I have no idea what that place is, but it sounds fun.
Hide your weed, hide your wife. Jaleesa's coming to the Haight.
Nice. Yeah.
It is seriously so amazing. It's like way before weed was even being talked about being decriminalized. I would go to Haight-Ashbury as a kid and there's just weed on every corner.
That's incredible.
Yeah, everyone's either like selling it or asking for it.
Like a Willy Wonka style, like weed
Yeah.
factory. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah,
Totally. Exactly. And the Oompa Loompas don't come out and take you away, though.
Oh, good.
Unless you smoke
Different
a
drug.
lot
Yeah.
of weed.
Yeah, it's a different drug for sure.
Yeah, unless the Grateful Dead is in town. And then maybe that might happen.
Yeah.
But I am excited to go there. When I was there when I was 12, I think we went on like a whale watching tour.
Yep, that makes sense.
I don't know I don't think the whales are there now. I think they're there in the winter.
We got some whales out here too.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
come down. They come down from Alaska all the way down here, and then they go right
So
back
same
up.
feel like
whales,
I remember-
different tickets.
I think
scam.
they hit Hawaii too.
They're on tour.
Yeah, they're on tour.
That's
Dude,
cute.
they
always
are
on
busy.
tour.
Always on tour. Exhausting.
Humpbacks.
It's a
Always
tough life on the
tour.
road or the water.
It is lonely, tough life, but they have their kids with them, so I guess it's nice.
Aw.
That's a great concept for a nerdy science shirt, like
Yeah.
a tour shirt.
Or a Journey
Just where,
song.
where all the whales where all the whales go.
Where the whales have been, or like a butterfly migration shirt.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Tour 2020. Okay. All right. So with that out of the way, this is a news show, and we have a lot to get to. So let's hit the hot notes. Hot notes. On the radar today, literally, North Korea has launched 2 more missiles for a total of 4 over 2 launches personally overseen by Kim Jong-un this week alone. This is, to me, a clear message to Trump to stop his military exercises in the region and an overt threat to South Koreans, Japanese, and our troops who are both stationed in those countries and in that area, in that peninsula. So this is what you get when you invite an evil dictator into your home and send him love letters. This is what happens. And then, because he just went over there and did that whole thing where he was the first president to set foot in North Korea across the demilitarized zone. Everyone was like, whoa.
Yeah, he was so proud of himself.
Yeah, and then now 4 missiles up your butt. So, and these are at Trump. We can't, there's, make no mistake, this is a signal to him, stop these exercises we talked about. And I'm sure Pompeo and Bolton are like, stop the nuclear stuff that we're talking about. and he's not going to. But now he's been legitimized as a world leader because the president of the United States has invited him to be that. He elevated him up to a legitimate world leader.
That's a very good point.
His missile launches, they terrify me because it feels like a carnival game or something. Like
warning shots, right?
Trying to hit something.
Yeah.
Mostly not. 100%
He's making a statement,
not.
but it's a terrifying statement.
But his goal is to get here or show that he can get here. That's really just very unsettling.
These are just tests, right?
Yeah.
But it's a show. It's to say, hey, look what we can do. And these missiles can reach Japan and South Korea.
It's very twisted.
And the point you made about him legitimizing Kim Jong-un is so important because some people thought, oh, what's the harm with him shaking his hand and going to the line? It's actually something that they should be happy about. This is Fox News right now. But I think that's crazy because now, like you said, he feels like the people that anytime someone's around Trump, they feel like they get legitimized, even though in America their careers end as a result. They still feel that boost of like, oh, I work at the White House. I know Trump. I can sell you access. That happens here. So over there, it's got to be a similar thing, if not worse, because they actually align with his dictator-like,
Yeah, and he
agenda.
can petition to be in the UN General Assembly because, Trump and me are friends and Putin and I hang out or whatever the fuck. And then, this is kind of like legitimizing his existence in the world as a leader. Because most presidents prior to this have just sort of ignored him. Let's not give him any, spotlight. Let's not engage in this because he is a murderous dictator who treats his people like shit and starves them to feed the military that, in these missile launches to threaten us and to try to become a nuclear power. And it's kind of like when you retweet a troll or a bot or something. You I've had to learn not to do this on Twitter because when you respond to a bot or a troll, you are legitimizing their existence. Sort of, they go, "Ooh, look at this big account that retweeted me" or whatever. And
that's their goal.
Yeah, it's kind of akin to that, but on a global thermonuclear scale.
Totally. No, it makes complete sense.
Yeah.
Do you think he's trying to show that he can actually make it here, or he would just settle for showing he can make it to our allies?
Our allies, I think for now, I think he might be able to make it here, and he hasn't shown that yet.
Yeah.
But we have so many troops in South Korea and Japan. It's akin to making it here, honestly.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, obviously, if it actually hit on U.S. soil, that would be. I can't say it would be worse different. Or better,
right.
But
the gravity could be different. Yeah, from
it's just
a government perspective.
it'd probably be a bigger deal. But
well, I imagine where you have the capability to reach factors into your negotiation, but normally we don't negotiate with
terrorists.
Him.
Yeah.
So, but now he's like exactly like you said, it's giving him an actual seat at the table. So I fear that he is even more emboldened to try to get somewhere.
Yep.
Yeah. Anywhere would suck too. Like you said.
Yeah, anything. Yeah. And I mean, we have troops in a million countries, so not literally, but a lot of places. So, reaching here or reaching anywhere our troops are, but it is, and our allies, the civilians in South Korea and Japan, also in danger. Very, very scary. Yesterday, we reported on a House Oversight Committee report about the Middle East Marshall Plan, and buried within it, there was an email about early meetings between Putin and Michael Flynn. Jordan, what do we know?
Yeah, so remember when Flynn was hanging out on stage with Putin at that RT event back in 2015? So him and Putin both were, every time that they were asked, did you guys talk about stuff? They were like, nah, we just said pleasantries. That's about it. Nothing substantive, right? Well, it turns out they definitely did. An email is surfaced, kind of, I mean, it's surfacing for the first time for us. It's something Mueller already knew, at least according to Sidney Powell, but I don't know if we can trust her. But I trust that was something that was fully investigated by Mueller. But the email says, I had an interesting trip to Moscow, and then in parentheses, I did meet with Putin. That was sent to one of his business associates, and he sent that on December 16th, 2015, and that was what was just obtained by the House Oversight Committee.
And here's something you have to consider, too, that it might not have been fully investigated by Mueller. It might have been handed off to the counterintelligence folks, because if this has to do with the nuclear Saudi Arabia grand bargain for lowering sanctions on Russia and the Rosneft sale and all that, giant counterintelligence thing that's happening, he might not have investigated it and might have handed it off. And so Sidney Powell could be singing out of her ass. Which,
well, I definitely think she's doing that. whatever the
either
case is.
way, whatever she's saying is coming out of her butthole.
Yes. But I do think that it's also possible that a lot of new documents and a lot of new reporting has come to light on the Middle East Marshall Plan that recontextualizes evidence as well. So even if it wasn't something that was fully looked at in the full scope by Mueller, it's something that now that we know more about it, it's actually a lot more consequential than maybe it was a few months ago. But,
Totally.
Yeah, and I wonder when when Nadler, who's petitioned for the grand jury materials, if that information will be in there, the counterintelligence information will be in the grand jury materials, even whether or not it was handed off, or if the counterintelligence information would be redacted from Nadler's view on the Judiciary Committee. I wonder.
Yeah. I cannot imagine Mueller saw this and was like, nothing's here.
Right. I don't think Flynn's judge about that either. When he probably saw this too, right? Was it Judge Ellis who was the guy that said you should have considered treason?
Yeah, he might have.
It makes a lot of sense now that we get this information, what he might have seen, to be like, dude.
Yeah, handing off nuclear secrets to the Saudis, circumventing the rules by lobbying the Trump administration. And it shows Flynn had been a part of this plan to bring the Marshall Plan way back to 2015, right?
Yeah, he was like a main point person, essentially, that was kind of tasked with being the representative for this plan, conceivably to the Russians.
Yeah,
So-
and also we have to think about how this could have influenced Trump's policy and his picks for Rex Tillerson, oil man in Russia, which you need the oil to build the reactors. You have to lower sanctions. Mnuchin's willing to do that in the Treasury, et cetera. So
Totally.
the phone calls to Kislyak, having Flynn call Kislyak specifically to not retaliate against the sanctions and promise that we'll take care of them. All these things make sense in the light of this project and this plan.
Yeah,
and that's why we made such a big deal out of it in episode 6.
Absolutely. It's like they all had their marching orders, right? They all knew what they were supposed to do, and they fucking did it.
Yeah, and White House officials using personal emails and texts to do this, by the way, possibly violating the Presidential Records Act and raising questions about evidence preservation.
Yeah, definitely. Because even though there isn't currently any evidence, at least that has been established in a court of law that we know of, that successfully determined that this lobbying did work it resulted in an actual nuclear energy transfer, essentially, capability transfer to the Middle East. But I think that that's still yet to be determined. I think Republicans are having a great time saying that you can't prove it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
how do you prove that kind of thing, right?
With these emails.
With these.
I mean, besides that, they're going to say, well, yeah, but what do the emails lead to? Is there
Yeah, and I have to reiterate what I've said before, and same with obstruction of justice. You don't actually have to successfully complete the lobbying attempt in order to be guilty of lobbying on behalf of a foreign entity.
Yeah, that should be a billboard somewhere. I think people forget that all the time. It's so important.
Right. Yeah, I think just the act of lobbying, whether it works or not.
Yeah, when someone says, so what? Just that statement is perfect for that.
Yes. And also, so what? Really? You're cool with giving nuclear secrets to the 9/11 guys?
They'll be like,
okay.
Trump started this from like his first day in office. He's like, we're all killers. We all do bad things. So people are like, yeah, well, he's a politician. So what? It's like, no, this is crazy. But he set the tone.
Yeah, and the evidence does already exist because the committee documented it this week that Flynn did definitely have plans to bring the project up to people in Russia. So so it's not even conjecture. There is definitely evidence of
Right.
this.
These
so.
are not beans.
It was
Yeah.
conjecture in 2017.
Yeah. Now they're cooked beans, actually. Is
Beans
that
have
what that-
come true.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
They grow up so fast. Sorry.
and
We should put like a little bean with a copy of the Flynn story on one of those blankets that says, 2 years old.
Oh, it's adorable.
they grow up so fast. That's so funny. But yeah, this is crazy. I'm excited in a terrifying way to keep learning more details about the Middle East Marshall Plan because it was very extensive and still is, right? Because I imagine they're not giving up on that.
No. So much money on the line.
Yeah,
I
and-
feel like Jamal Khashoggi's death might have had something to do with that. Like, what was he reporting?
What
at the
was he
time?
looking into?
Exactly.
Yeah, and Seth Abramson in his Proof of Conspiracy book talks about this, another follow-up meeting to this with Flynn and Ben Carson, of all people. And it's a no spoilers, read the book. Proof of Conspiracy. So there have been people who've been on this for a while, and it's just now coming out to the public. So,
And Barrick is super in the center of it. So
yeah, Tom Barrick.
100% on my indictment league.
Nice.
Totally. Unless he just ends up in a counterintelligence indictment league, which is never publicly indicted and just sort of disappears.
Yeah, basically.
Let's see. Also this morning, there was another hearing in the Epstein case, speaking of assholes, where the judge set a tentative trial date for mid-2020, June. There was no mention of his alleged suicide attempt, though he is on suicide watch. We did find out today that Epstein is not in solitary confinement. He shares a cell with Nicholas Tartaglione, a former cop. His name's
Former
probably Nick
cop.
Tartarface or
he
something.
murdered some people. I
Yeah,
guess.
Really?
Former cop for facing murder charges. And Tartaglione's lawyer says, no way he attacked Epstein. Yeah, because no way a murderer named Tony Taglione.
Yeah, they've
I'm
got
sorry, that
rapport.
is not.
No,
I'm not okay.
It's not the worst thing you could.
You know what?
have
Go
done.
ahead and send me emails.
But yeah, it's interesting that they feel like he's safe with this guy. It's like, I don't know, did Jeffrey make friends with him or something? I'm just curious about that. How they're so sure it wasn't him.
Yeah,
He's
but that's what the
saying
lawyer
he was
says.
attacked, right?
I don't
that's
think he's
what
saying
He
that.
was found attacked,
Really?
I think, and then they were like, "Dude, we see the bruises."
I haven't read anything about what he said happened.
Okay.
But the jail's not reporting, and they didn't talk about it in the trial or in the hearing today.
Yeah. Like, this guy wouldn't do it. He's a murderer, but he wouldn't do this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
look
no,
at-
he
look at
would
his-
do that. He just didn't.
Okay, yeah, that makes more sense.
Actually, he would have killed him because
Oh,
he's good at
that's
his
the best
job.
argument you got there. Yeah,
He
yeah.
had
exactly.
a life full of good behavior in civil
Yeah,
that
service,
would have been
except for that one murder. But other than that,
That would have been a funny defense. Tartaglione, if it was him, he'd have killed him.
Yeah, if I
Yeah.
wanted you dead, you'd be dead. That kind of thing. That's
Totally.
totally convincing.
I've been watching The Godfather again. Sorry, because I'm, in anticipation of Roger Stone's upcoming trial. So
Yeah.
forgive me for my really terrible and probably stereotypical Italianness.
I equate it with the Hope Hicks thing. It's like some voices I can see how they are offensive, but also,
Yeah, like it's fucking essential.
yeah. But I guess this is more like a racial thing. So, all right, cool, noted.
It's a mob thing.
yeah, mob thing. There we go.
Anyway, we can expect discovery in this case to be complete by October 31st, and the discovery is chilling to me. I hope it's under seal. I don't want to see it yet. October 31st, with one exception, which I believe is information from one of his devices that could take a minute to get or crack or something like that. Epstein's attorney asked for 13 months to review the discovery documents. There's over 1 million of them. But the judge, Richard Berman, suggested it could start as early as June, but he's also considering putting it off until like September of next year. He's open, kind of pending on how these preliminary hearings go.
yeah. And the idea of a settlement, that's out the window, I imagine,
I hope
at this
so.
point.
A settlement, but maybe not a deal.
Like
And
fool me
I've
once.
thought about the scruples on this because I've been like, you can't offer a deal to a sex predator, to a child
Right.
rapist.
Again,
But
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
but a
The
deal,
again part
but a
is-
fruitful deal, not a sweetheart deal.
Sure,
like,
yeah.
But like, if he gave up some of the major like sex traffickers in the world, I would be okay with that got prosecuted, because usually a deal is they have to be prosecuted and convicted and found guilty for your deal to apply.
So it'll take a while either way.
So if that happens, and we can lock up a bunch of sex traffickers responsible probably for the majority of this kind of sex trafficking, at least among the wealthy and the powerful, then I would be okay with him on house arrest in one of his mansions until he dies.
Yeah.
If we can lock up
The
10,
other
15, 20 more
Illuminati
people.
members, yeah.
Exactly.
They are like the Illuminati. It used to be like a conspiracy theory, but now I'm like, oh, just powerful people doing awful things. Well, yeah, Epstein all the way.
Yeah, they just don't have a name for their club.
Right, Illuminati.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh.
It's too played out.
Oh, yeah.
I do have a hard time seeing what incentive he has to flip on anyone at this point, though.
To get to spend the rest of his life in his mansion, maybe, under house
yeah.
arrest with a couple ankle bracelets and a dick bracelet.
He might get murdered in his mansion, though.
I guess so. It just seems like his life
But if he had
is-
like a huge,
All right, big walls.
guards,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
like a security detail, which he's in danger no matter where he is. Prison's
sure.
not going to stop people
Right.
from killing him.
That's what I'm kind of thinking. And it's like his life is already completely ruined for the rest of time, I hope, now that this has been so high profile. But yeah,
then
I guess.
actually-
And like you said, he's not really safe at home and he's not safe in jail either, it doesn't seem. So
He might as well give someone up then, right?
If they're
Clear-
making that deal, they might not
Yeah.
even be making that deal. They might just be looking at him going, you don't get shit, you disgusting piece of crap. And we already
choke
have
him.
enough evidence from your safe and your devices that we have to crack, and the million documents of discovery that we
Yeah.
don't need your help. So shush and go hang out with
The murderous cop.
the cop murder.
Well,
murder cop.
there are like people in prison too that still have so many ties with the outside world that could totally like fuck with him too if he does flip on anyone.
Yeah, he's definitely in a tough position, which I'm so thankful for.
Where he put himself.
yeah,
so.
definitely.
Yeah.
But I'm curious to see where his head is too. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, I feel he's in danger, whether he flips or not. There's people who want him dead because he
agree.
could flip at any time. It's just a danger. He's in danger whether he's in jail. He's in danger whether he's in his home under house arrest being guarded.
Yeah.
It's the same amount of danger. So he might prefer, if there's a deal on the table, to sit that out in his comfy home with his television set and his mansion or
Yeah.
pool or
Better
whatever
to
the
die in a
fuck he's
mansion than
got.
in jail, I guess.
That would be the only kind of difference that
Right.
would impact him. But
Yes,
I don't know
that
if
is
they're
a glaring
offering him.
difference, I suppose.
True, yeah.
I don't know if they're not going to offer him that at all. I don't know if they need to. If they need it,
Yeah.
I would at least ask as a prosecutor just to see, because even if you've got all this evidence and everything that's in the safe, there could be more things that you don't have that you could get leads to.
Right.
And it could be a proffer session, which is what happens where you say, you tell me everything that you know, and we'll decide if we're going to make you a deal.
If you have bomb ass proffer,
Yeah, if you've got bomb ass proffer is what you called it in Mueller, she wrote.
Maybe he knows about other people that also have passports that are weird and expired and getaway bags and
He
stuff.
could know so much
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
not in the discovery, not in the evidence. Or they might say, we have enough here that we're comfortable to never offer you a deal and you're going to rot in jail. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but I think as a prosecutor, I would at least offer a proffer session. Because, if you lie during a proffer session, all bets are off the table. And if no convictions come, and you don't have to give them a deal to get the proffer session, you can hear what they have to say before you offer them a deal. And then you can be like, nah.
Yeah, that's a smart move either way.
So, but I don't know if you can actually use what they told you in the proffer session
If the deal
you
doesn't
don't make
work
a
out.
deal.
Yeah,
I
okay.
don't know.
So it's tricky, law.
We'll ask
Yeah,
Renato.
opening arguments or someone will dissect that.
But that's not the only Epstein news today, guys. The New York Times dropped a bomb, a really gross bomb, content warning.
Yeah.
And Jaleesa, you have this story.
Yes, I do. So just when you thought Epstein couldn't get any creepier, the New York Times published a story detailing Epstein's disturbing plan to, quote, seed the human race with his DNA. And he wanted to do that by impregnating women, as many as 20 at a time, at his ranch in New Mexico. It would essentially be a ranch that instead of breeding cattle, he just breeds Epstein babies.
Wait, at a time?
Yes.
20 at a time.
Simultaneously.
I guess it would have to be over 20 days.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's extensive. And to achieve this, he recruited the help of many famous scientists, including Stephen freaking Hawking. And many of these, yeah. They used to go to his mansion at dinners and all this stuff.
Stephen Hawking went to his mansion?
Yeah, but I mean, who's to say that he was... A lot of these scientists are backing out now saying, hey, we just liked his money. We didn't know he was doing this to kids.
He was offering them
startup money for their
startup money
experiments.
and seed money. Seed money.
Seed money.
For their research. He was going to fund their research.
Exactly.
Let's keep the word seed out.
Yeah, code word, fund your research. And many of these scientists were so blinded by Epstein's money that they ignored how incredibly psycho his plans were. And thankfully, none of these creepy ideas have seemed to come to fruition, but they're still pretty concerning ideas for someone like his, of his influence to have. Just makes me wonder who else might be trying this. And it's called transhumanism. Yeah, it's basically the science of improving the human population through technologies like genetic engineering and artificial intelligence.
It's a kinder, gentler term for eugenics.
Exactly. It's like modern day eugenics, or someone said on Twitter, Eww-genics?
Eww-genics.
Eww-genics.
That's a good
Ew.
pun. Yeah, I like that.
Ew. Eww-genics.
That's perfect. Oh, here's the craziest part of all of this. He also was into the science of cryogenics, if I'm pronouncing that right, which is freezing things, and he requested that his head and penis be frozen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this hurts me because we've talked about this on Mueller, She Wrote, how I want to know what's going to happen or how the Mueller investigation is going to be viewed historically, and I wanted you guys to freeze my head.
Yes.
And keep me alive so that I could experience that. Now, but then since then we've had God on the show, and God has revealed to me that in the afterlife, all of the Mueller information will be available.
That's perfect.
Good. So we can get all the unredacted
and the book
stuff.
is thinner, but all the information's there.
Then.
Yeah.
Yeah, but his head and his penis.
And I was like, why just the head and the penis? What the hell? Right? Like, the head I get, but the penis, like, you can't enjoy it at that point unless he knows about some science I don't. But all of this is just like a Futurama episode gone wrong. It's really creepy. And
it's bad dick energy personified.
Bad dick energy. Absolutely. Yeah. And apparently none of it is illegal.
Yeah, sure. Cut your dick off and freeze it if you want.
I guess. But knowing what he did to those women and those young girls, like... Sorry, I'll give a minute for the laughter.
Freeze it if you want.
Yeah, no rules against that, I guess.
Right, that part I'm like just creepy in general, but then there's the actual coercion that he did with these young women and the fact that he was trying to breed women like this. It's like, whoa.
And there was a deposition where he had to describe how another woman described his penis, and it was like really weird and egg shaped and all this other stuff. And they were forcing Epstein to read this description from one of his victims, and he was like getting angry that they were making him like
seemed like he has a weird
talk about
dick.
his weird dick.
Did they have pictures of his actual penis to
confirm
side by side?
Exhibit A, yeah, across.
I mean, that would be some kind of proof, I imagine.
That's how you get Trump down. You just like have him on the stand and like cross-examine his penis, and he'll just break down.
Yeah,
it's like the most like.
But what did the penis look like?
Your Honor, objection. But yeah, it's all weird. And then just knowing that he thinks he has superior genetics is another thing that bothers me.
Right. And the egregious unself-awareness of not realizing he's a sex predator and transhumanism. Yeah, transhumanism motivated fleet of sex predators is what he thinks is the superior race.
I just imagine in the future when somebody's trying to reanimate his dick in his head, that somebody's doing it and they've got all the lines hooked up and everything, and one guy looks at the other and says, "I'm sorry, we don't have enough blood for both." Hi.
Yes, that's great.
Okay, sorry, old joke. I'll show myself out.
I dig it.
But he thinks his dick is as important as his head.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's
that
amazing.
blows my mind.
Did all dudes think that?
Well, creepy ones, I guess. Or
I don't know. Maybe that's the thing. Okay.
Now we know what his answer would be to you can bring two things on an island.
Desert island
head and
discs.
his dick.
My head,
my
my
head
dick.
and my dick.
Yeah. And
And ice.
Saudi Arabia fake passport.
A cooler box.
Yeah, but very creepy and totally legal, not cool.
This guy screams Scientology.
Oh, okay. I can
I
see
think it's
that.
his own thing.
It's
I think
definitely an Epstein religion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was going Dianetics for sure. All right.
freaking insane.
And then Stephen Hawking. That's another part. It
That
just,
makes me sad. There's
it
a
makes me
lot
very
of
sad.
poet laureates and Nobel Prize
Oh,
winners and stuff
yeah.
that he's had to his mansion and
Yeah.
stuff because he was basically like, I want to fund your projects.
Right, just a super rich
yeah.
guy.
And some people refused, but most of them took his money.
But a lot of them over time when they find out what was happening were like, I'm out.
Yeah, they're definitely out now. They're like, fuck you, you're in your own creeper.
Yeah.
Stephen Hawking's
Now
dead.
that you're in jail, okay.
Why don't
Yeah.
you freaking take Stephen Hawking's seed and start with that one?
Yeah.
Maybe with the, the whole degenerative till he dies disease thing isn't a good idea to
I
spread.
thought you were telling him to
but
take a
his
seat
brain-
too. It works both ways.
God, what if they had that conversation? Yeah, I don't think you're a good candidate, Hawkins.
Like, I brought you
Why
here
is
to
that?
see
Yeah, are we saying that
if you're a
God's
good.
interviewing Stephen Hawking about Epstein? Because this is a sketch that needs to happen. It's like, all right, black holes, great contribution. We appreciate that. But I have these scenes. I don't
Yeah.
know how God would bring it out, like a TV on a little
Everyone's-
rolly thing.
Yeah.
One of those like old school. Like,
Substitutes.
yeah, strapped down to the.
Yeah.
I'm going to hell.
I mean,
All
I
of
guess.
us are.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Tell you what, before we do that, we'll be right back. Hello, this is AG with a quick request for you to subscribe and rate the Daily Beans. The way the podcasting world works, subscribing, which is free, puts us on the map and helps others find our show. So head to your podcast player and click subscribe. Also, we're going to be pulling these shows off of the Mueller, She Wrote main feed pretty shortly, so you'll want to make sure you're subscribed on the Daily Beans feed. Thanks so much for listening.
In portions we all can digest daily beans from Mother She Wrote.
Hey guys, welcome back. Time for some social media.
Hashtag.
Today, we are going to continue with the hashtag Moscow Mitch with a story from Natasha Bertrand in Politico. According to new lobbying disclosures, they disclosed, hey, step in the right direction.
Nice.
But they disclosed about something that they did a while ago, which you're supposed to do beforehand. But they disclosed.
Better late than never.
Unless they found an old disclosure, I'm not sure. But two former Mitch staffers, Hunter Bates and Brendan Dunn, lobbied Congress and Steve.
Bates and Dunn.
a law firm in the making.
Yeah.
They lobbied Congress and Steve at the Treasury for the Oleg Deripaska-funded Kentucky aluminum mill. So according to this article, Dems are trying to get the White House to look into the Russians' $200 million investment because they're worried the mill will contract with our own Department of Defense. So they're asking the White House to do this, like they're gonna. As we all know from previous reporting, in order to get this deal done with the Kentucky aluminum plant and Rusal, which is Oleg Deripaska's aluminum company, sanctions had to be lifted on Oleg Deripaska. And in order to get the sanctions lifted, he had to sell off shares in his company, which he sold to his family and the Kremlin. So he's still in charge of it. But it was enough to get Mitch and the Treasury and the GOP Senate to vote for it, including Mitch McConnell. And so they lifted the sanctions, and Steve at the Treasury had to approve it, which he did. It's unknown whether Hunter and Brendan lobbied Mitch directly or Mitch's office directly, but we now have a clear link between Turtle Dick Mitch and the Russian aluminum plant. So find this Politico article. The headline is Ex-McConnell staffers lobbied on Russian-backed Kentucky project and tweeted out with hashtag Moscow Mitch.
Nice.
Damn.
And kudos to everybody that's been actually doing the hashtag stuff. I've seen like people like actually engaging. This is great.
Yeah, totally. And you can tag us too at Daily Beans Pod on Twitter.
Yes, much appreciated.
We do appreciate it. And let's see.
So are they going to get FARA violations?
That's a good question.
Well, they just registered, or they found their old registrations. I'm not sure which. So I don't know, but we'll see.
Yeah, I wonder how that like what penalty will
We
be.
don't know what the start date was on their registrations.
No, I didn't see that in the
Yeah.
in the article.
I imagine
Some
it would
big
be in there.
questions though, Jordan. You should go on the like.
But
hunt for
it
this
did
one.
say an update, new lobbying disclosures. So apparently they're new. Unless they're new to them and they're old.
Exactly. It's very vague in that
Yeah, I
sense.
know it is.
I would be so surprised if they registered like they were supposed to.
Yeah,
When they were supposed to.
it's not really their party's deal,
No,
And
that's
also, you
not
shouldn't
something
be
they do.
allowed to do that.
right?
Aside
retroactively
from,
and all
even
that.
if there isn't a FARA violation. Well, yeah, just you shouldn't be able to lobby for
Oh,
that.
Getting to the root of it. You're right. You're
Yes.
totally right. And I think it was the bipartisan deal that Nunes and who else was trying to bring to the floor to stop lobbying. Or
Oh,
was it-
AOC.
Yeah,
AOC
AOC and
Cruz.
Nunes. Ted
I know-
Cruz. There we go.
Ted
Thank
Cruz,
you.
not Nunes. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
one of
for
those fuck
politicians
faces.
that get out of office and then go into lobbying.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's connected, but because through lobbying, but not. It wouldn't apply here because these aren't.
Oh.
I don't think these are former senators.
Right.
Okay.
But
I
they're
see.
former McConnell staffers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if that would be part of the ban. but
Lobbying is just really tricky.
It's stupid. I don't even know why we have it. Also, I'd like to end the show on an amazing Twitter thread I found by @Zeddary. I don't know how to pronounce it. Zeddary. He goes by Zeddy on Twitter, and I'm just going to read it to you. But I encourage you to find it and read it and like it and share it because it has all the photographs that you need and all the sources, and give him a follow because this is pretty amazing. He put it all in one place. So here we go. On the subject of crime-infested, hashtag, a thread. Paul Manafort, former Trump campaign chairman, owned and lived in a condo on the 43rd floor of Trump Tower, currently in prison for money laundering, bank fraud, tax fraud, witness tampering, and conspiracy against the United States. Heli Namad owns the entire 51st floor of Trump Tower, pleaded guilty and received 12-month prison sentence in 2014 for operating an illegal multi-million-dollar gambling business out of Trump Tower, case tied to notorious Russian mafia boss of all bosses, Semyon Mogilevich. Vadim Trencher, a former condo owner on the 63rd floor of Trump Tower, mastermind of Trump Tower gambling ring with Namad, 5 years in federal prison, $20 million in asset forfeiture for racketeering. Jean-Claude Baby Doc Duvalier, Haitian dictator tied to death and torture of thousands of its citizens, arrested upon return from exile and charged with embezzlement and human rights abuse, owned a condo at Trump Tower valued at $2.5 million. Felix Sater worked in an office out of the 24th floor of Trump Tower and a Trump org employee, led negotiations for Trump Tower Moscow and Trump Soho, 15 months in prison for stabbing a man with a margarita glass, also convicted on $40 million stock trading scheme. Michael Cohen, Trump's personal attorney, former Trump org employee and Trump Tower resident, at Trump Tower. He was a Trump org employee at Trump Tower and resident of Trump World Tower, currently in prison for tax evasion, bank fraud, lying to investigators, campaign finance violations tied to illegal hush money payments at the direction of Donald Trump. Joseph Weichelbaum, Trump's personal chopper pilot in the 1980s, upgraded from a 32nd floor Trump Tower apartment to an adjoining 49th floor condo where he was serving, while he was serving a federal sentence for smuggling cocaine out of Colombia via Miami. The condos were paid for in all cash. Vyacheslav Ivankov, top Russian mafia boss, associate of Semyon Mogilevich, hid out in Trump Tower, Moscow, and was a high roller at Trump Taj Mahal, even while subject of a worldwide FBI manhunt, 9-year prison sentence for racketeering, shot dead in 2009 outside a Moscow restaurant. Anatoly Golubchik and Michael Saul, co-conspirators in the Trencher Trump Tower gambling ring. Golubchik was described as an enforcer for the group, collecting debts with threats of violence. Golubchik and Saul forfeited their Trump Tower condos as criminal assets. Fun fact regarding Trump Tower gambling ring. They reported to Russian mob boss Alimsan Tokhonov.
Sounds like a boss.
Tokhonov, and was charged with rigging figure skating at the 2002 Olympics. Mueller did that.
Whoa, how do you rig figure skating?
They did. Anyway, here it is. Here it is. Then they have a photo. Here he is at the 2013 Miss Universe pageant, 7 months after Trump Tower raids. Correction to this tweet, Ivankov hid out in Trump Tower on Fifth Avenue, not Trump Tower Moscow. Trump Tower Moscow is the unrealized project that Trump pursued with Russian governments during the Trump campaign, then lied about. Stephen Hoffenberg leased an office space on the 15th floor of Trump Tower mere months after the SEC sued him for operating the largest Ponzi scheme in American history until the Madoff scandal. Served 16 years of a 20-year sentence for bilking $475 million from investors. Note on Hoffenberg, he is now in the news as he has alleged that Jeffrey Epstein amassed his own fortune during his role in the Tower's financial scheme. Also, Hoffenberg heads up a pro-Trump super PAC, which he has pledged $50 million to. Ernest Garcia II, billionaire and owner of Drive Time, huge stakeholder in those hellishly dystopian car vending machines you see advertised, owns an apartment in Trump Tower. In 1990, pleaded guilty to $30 million bank fraud scheme tied to the Keating 5 savings and loan scandal. I remember that one. Melvin Cooper, convicted of helping mastermind a violent loan shark scheme for the Colombo and Gambino crime families. In 1985, after getting out of prison, he purchased a Trump Tower condo and later bought a second one, apparently rather disliked by his neighbors. Here's a fun one concerning bringing Trump a woman with no income or discernible assets, $6 million worth of Trump Tower condos, and a big mafia union racketeer. Check this last panel for art of the deal. There's a photo from the book. Sheldon Weinberg paid $180,000 a year in rent for his Trump Tower condo at the same time he was pulling in $30,000 a week from Medicare fraud. Sheldon disappeared in 1989 but was caught after the case was featured on Unsolved Mysteries and served 16 years in prison.
I love TV.
Jose Maria Marin, former governor of Sao Paulo and president of the Brazilian Football League, found guilty on 7 counts of money laundering and wire fraud as part of the 2015 FIFA scandal, also investigated by Mueller. Currently in prison, spent his house arrest pending trial in his condo Trump Tower. Chuck Blazer, FIFA Executive Committee, pleaded guilty as part of the same scandal, racketeering, wire fraud, tax evasion, money laundering, died before sentencing, 2 luxury apartments in Trump Tower, one for himself and one exclusively for his cats.
That's really cute. I can't even laugh.
David Bogatine, one of Trump Tower's earliest tenants, purchased 5 condos for $6 million in '84, a deal that Trump personally closed. Later extradited from Poland after fleeing an indictment in a Russian mob gas smuggling scheme, 7-year prison sentence. Fun fact about Bogatine, he was also a Red Army vet who reportedly spent time in North Vietnam advising the locals on how to shoot down U.S. planes. Robert Hopkins, Trump personally appeared at closing on his $1.7 million condo that included $200,000 in cash that Trump counted himself, arrested on murder charges and convicted of running a $500,000 a week numbers racket for the Lucchese crime family. Lucchese? I don't know how to pronounce that one. I could keep this up. He limited himself. He said, I even limited myself to just one of his properties. I haven't touched Epstein treating Mar-a-Lago as a hunting ground, or R. Kelly holding women at Trump Tower in Chicago, or Ivanka's Baku escapades, or the 6 other Trump advisors facing federal sentences.
Oh my goodness.
So that's just
one
thread.
Wow.
So look him up, Zeddary, at Zeddary, and read that thread.
It's
There's more
incredible.
too. There's more. But I cut it a little bit short. Retweet it, give that guy a follow. That's an amazing
good job,
thread.
Zeddy. Cool name too, Zeddy. I like that.
Yeah. So
Wow.
Crazy.
Yeah, I'm kind of speechless. And then the R. Kelly thing, I was like, I forgot about that. All these creepers knew each other.
yeah.
Gross.
Yeah. So I guess that's all we have to say about that.
Yeah. I'm like mildly speechless.
Right? It was a long one, but anyway,
Well, I hope he plans or someone plans to do him for those other properties because, I mean, people need to know this. I'm very curious about Epstein's, his hubs or headquarters for all this stuff.
Yeah, and he's got all of his different mansions and stuff.
The ranch, the breeding ranch.
It's amazing. Pretty incredible thread, so thank you for that. And guys, that's our show. And thanks to our patrons and subscribers. You guys have any final thoughts?
Nope, it's just August, so that's cool, right?
Yep.
It's begun when we're
August
putting this out.
1st.
Yeah, except for patrons.
Yeah.
You're in the past.
Yeah. Catch up, patrons. Come on, God. It's August.
Yeah, but that's it. I'm happy. School's starting for people, so I'm not in school. That's why I'm happy.
You brought it around full circle there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. I'm just thinking of are we only learning all of these things because Trump is president? Like, it's terrifying to think that all of this stuff goes on in other rings as well, and we just don't know.
Yeah, I
because there's
tweeted
no
that. I
high-
was like,
high
imagine if
profile
any of
enough.
this would have even come out if Trump weren't elected president. So
Yeah.
silver linings,
Well,
unintended
Hillary is married to
consequences.
Bill, so I think some things would have came out.
Yeah.
It might be.
But
That
not
might
nearly
be
as
true.
much, maybe. Yeah.
But Acosta probably wouldn't have been labor secretary, and then there wouldn't have been scrutiny into his past.
Oh
and-
yeah, there's going to be all sorts of fan fiction on.
podcast
al-
idea.
alternate history.
reality
Yeah.
if Trump didn't win.
Yeah,
It's
and
fucking, yeah. I guess it's a silver lining, but also terrifying because that means there's alternate realities in which all these people never get exposed.
Yeah, but Mueller she wrote also wouldn't exist. So what kind of world would that be?
I don't even know.
Or the Daily
I don't even-
Beans.
You don't even know.
Yeah.
Before I let you guys go, we haven't watched, because of time travel, we haven't watched the Democratic debates yet, but when you're hearing this, you probably will have. Any predictions on who's going to win?
Oh, ooh.
Harris.
Kamala, yeah, I'm with you, dude. I feel like Biden's gonna try to be prepared, but she is so smart. She's not an ideologue, as she calls herself. She's like someone who looks at things just simply as in how can they affect real people's lives. And so I think Biden's gonna be like, well, Obamacare did that, but I don't know. I feel like she'll have more of the racial things and the policies with that, and her Pell Grant.
Look for a showdown between Kamala and Biden again, Harris and Biden. particularly over healthcare, because
Good
she
TV.
said something about healthcare in the last debate and then had to walk it back, and not because she just misunderstood the question, because the moderator said, raise your hands if you would give up your private insurance in favor of a Medicare for All plan. And she raised her hand thinking, I'd give up my insurance.
Totally.
What Chuck Todd, fuck Todd. I guess what
Not
he
your
meant
husband.
was, would you be willing to abolish everyone's private health insurance?
Right.
Which is something that, a lot of candidates are for right now.
Yeah.
Bernie
Right,
and
but she
Warren, but
doesn't-
she
She's on
Answered
the
it
fence,
personally.
it seems. Yeah.
well, she just released her detailed health plan.
Oh.
And Biden is a fix the ACA the old way and shore that up. And maybe he kind of, I can't even tell if he wants to add a Medicare for All option or if he wants to lower the Medicare age. I'm not sure. But I think there's going to be a showdown between the two on healthcare.
Yeah.
I think Harris will come out on top as well.
Yeah, that'll be interesting because Biden doesn't want to repeal and replace Obamacare. He wants to fix it. And then Kamala would probably want to do something totally different. I don't even really know. I guess her plan would be a totally different thing, right? That's what it sounds like. The
Yeah,
way she laid it out.
she's doing a Medicare for All plan. I haven't read it yet, so
Right, but it sounds
we're
on
going
the
to find out
surface.
about it here. It's
Yeah.
different from what Biden wants
That's
to do.
interesting. Yeah.
So I think it might take 10 years to implement, or I might be mixing that up with
That sounds like
someone
Kamala.
else's.
It does. She loves practical
Didn't we
things.
brought it up yesterday where you it took 10 years, whoever it was would be out of office even if they were a 2-term president by the time it hit.
Yeah, but it's interesting because she said in
Was
an
that her?
interview. Well, it sounds like we did say that was her yesterday, but I believe in an interview today or last night, she said that she doesn't want to do things or policies that will not be in effect until after she's gone. She's like, she wants things that are pretty quick to help people. So I wonder how her plan would fall under that
Well, we'll
idea.
see. Yeah, we'll see what
I'm
she
really
says
curious.
tonight.
Mhm. She's been kind of vague. That's why people are critical. They're like, they don't really know where she stands. But
She's going to, I think, solidify it tonight and nail it down. If she doesn't, that could be a problem for her.
Definitely. She's definitely the one to beat. I
oh
think.
yeah, I think of all.
But
of
everybody
them.
will be gunning for Biden.
Well,
all the
and I like Biden. I will say
Regular
that.
old Dems.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll vote for him if he beats her.
And then you've got some centrists who are going to, come down hard on.
Yeah,
on,
who else is even on the stage besides Biden and
Cory
Kamala?
Booker.
Oh, sorry,
Castro.
Corey. Yeah, he was at
Castro.
Comic-Con.
I think Castro's
Castro
going to
did
do
really
well.
well first
It
one.
would be hard for him to top his first performance, but if he does, we know he's consistent.
Yeah, anything's
He's
possible.
smart and experienced, so
Yeah, so we'll look for that. I think my top 3 finishes are going to be Harris, Castro, and I think Yang's going to be a dark horse tonight. I don't think
Interesting.
he's going to still have any chance at the presidency, but I think he's going to do well tonight.
And I love when people say that too, because we also, and Trump is very different from these candidates, but we also didn't think he would get as far as he did. I'm hoping that the people that we don't think will make it, like Marianne and Yang, might actually have a shot in 2020, just considering how times have changed and people are just that.
Marianne will not.
See, people keep saying that, and I'm like, I don't
Have
wanna...
you read her past, though?
I've heard about, what was it? The biggest criticism was the vaccination stuff.
Anti-vaxxer
Yeah,
stuff.
but she said
AIDS?
she's clarified that, right?
AIDS?
Yeah.
You
What does she think about AIDS?
you should
you can
read
cure it with
Okay.
your
You can cure it with your mind.
Aw.
And she gave it a new acronym, which I
Besides
can't remember.
AIDS?
Yeah.
Wow.
Or not a new acronym, but she made it stand for something besides autoimmune
Yeah.
Oh,
deficiency
something more
syndrome.
positive?
Exactly.
Something like, I don't
And
know.
imagination
Immune
doesn't
disorders.
stop.
Not enough letters.
Yeah, I need more time. I'm sorry. I need more time.
But, look into it. And I didn't know this before, but and people with disabilities have issues with her as well. And so I think it's just to do some research because yes, she's whimsical. Yes, she would probably create a secretary of whimsy, and it could be Zoe Deschanel.
Oh, that'd be a
but,
cool new secretary department. Like,
Yeah, that's what I want. I want the secretary
Yeah.
that'd be
of
so
whimsy.
cute. Yeah,
I would
yeah.
hire her as a therapist, not as a president.
Or like a life coach or a friend. Honestly, I think she has like the greatest approach to race so far, even like besides Kamala and Booker. Like she seems to address things like pretty head on, which is really refreshing for someone who is also kind of crazy.
Yeah, but you're definitely going to want to read what she has to say
Yeah, I'm gonna
about
read
AIDS
that AIDS
and
stuff, yeah.
the disabled.
yeah,
my
sorry,
God.
I take
And-
back actually wanting her as a
and-
therapist. Please don't call me for your business.
Don't at me.
Yeah, and overweight people too. She's got something really terrible about
Wow.
that. So yeah, and I didn't know that, and so
Yeah,
just-
this
I
is
did
news
see
to
she's
me.
connected with someone named Louise Hay, who wrote a book. I have a workbook of hers that it's called like Love Yourself, Heal Your Life.
yeah.
And they don't talk about, I mean, it sounds relatively fine. I've had a good time going through the book. It's been very helpful, but I haven't gotten to the part yet where it says you can cure your cancer with your brain. So,
I wish she were telling the truth because that'd be like a better like thing to believe, then she's crazy. But she most likely is just a little crazy.
She might not be. She might actually just be.
I mean, a lot of people believe you can heal yourself with
just
without
thoughts.
medicine.
Like,
yeah, people truly believe cancer comes from spiritual deficiencies and gaps, and
That is incorrect.
and a lot of people believe that it's like
I like
it's
the
a lot
sentiment.
bigger of a faction of society than I think
probably
we'd like to believe.
Yeah.
Hey, I've got no problem with supplementing your westernized, fucking scientifically proven, outcome proven, evidence driven medicine with some meditation and some mental self help because I think that definitely makes a difference. Like I think laughter definitely makes a difference in people's lives.
Right, but doing it alone.
But
is
to say that you
scary.
can meditate your way out of AIDS or meditate your way to be thin or meditate your way to not be disabled and then kind of fault those people for not doing it properly, that is kind of weird. But do the research on Marianne Williamson.
Maybe dieting too. That would make a lot of sense if she's like, with the right foods, I guess natural.
That's not what she's saying.
Oh, tough.
Yeah. No. So, but look into it. I mean, she's got a bunch of books out there. There's an ABC article about her beliefs on what's going on with all that stuff. Or don't, because honestly, she doesn't have a fucking shot at the presidency. And you can waste your time if you want, or
And
if you
it is a waste of time. And you said she got money from Republicans or something to like go on stage, or they donated to her campaign so she could be on stage.
I think so.
Yeah, I've heard that from multiple people. Yet to be corroborated.
But that's on the
we'll
Republicans.
Call them beans. It is. But my point is that if that is true and that was their idea to get her on stage to wreak havoc and cause
She
a
might not have
distraction,
had
then
the
it's kind of
qualifications on her own too. Yeah, but you don't have to take my word for it. Just do your own research if you feel the need. I don't think she's going to be at all a contender, and I don't think Yang will either. But I'd love him to death. He's an incredible dude, and I think he's going to do well tonight. So those are my picks, and
Nice.
yeah, and we'll see what happens when we hitch up tomorrow morning for the Daily Beans. And guys, anything else? Any final thoughts?
That's all I got.
Oh.
I'm out of beans.
All right. Well, please take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. I've been AG.
I've been Jaleesa Johnson.
I've been Jordan Coburn.
And them's the beans. The Daily Beans is produced by AG, featuring Jaleesa Johnson and Jordan Coburn, and engineered and edited by Mackenzie Mazzell and Starburns Industries. Our marketing manager is Sarah Lee Steiner, and our merchandising manager is Sarah Hirschberger Valencia. Fact-checking and research by AG, Jaleesa Johnson, and Jordan Coburn, with executive assistance by Amanda Reeder. Our music is written and performed by They Might Be Giants. Our web design and branding are by Joelle Reeder with Moxie Design Studios, and our website is dailybeanspod.com.